Well, good morning, everyone. And once again, welcome to another live here this morning. We appreciate you guys coming on. And as usual, I want to say hello to a few folks this morning. Let's see. Okay, there is this morning. Who's number one on the hit parade this morning? Mike from Norland. Good morning to you. And Mary from Norwich, and Brahim, Portland, Oregon, Francis Marie, Faye from Terrace, British Columbia, bright and early, Rosa, Montreal, Wendy, Markham, Kevin, Rainy, Oshawa, Andrea, Nouveau Brunswick, Gloria from New York, Madeleine, Laval, Kathy, Simcoe, Arlene, Portugal Cove, Newfoundland, Gloria, good morning. Dr. Bennett, good morning, Troy. Donna, Park Hill, Jerry, Nouveau Brunswick, Georgie, Halifax, Nova Scotia, Regina, good morning. Gertie from Burlington, Diane from LaSalle, Maureen, Boca Raton. Good morning, Maureen. Nina, Chatham, Kent, Rosemary, Moncton, Tish, and Margaret, and Yolande. Bonjour. Keith, good morning to you. Lynn, Arlington, Minnesota. Patricia, Calgary. You guys are up early. Francis, good morning. Linda, Pennsylvania. Jackie, good morning. And Nellie, how is you? Olive, good morning. Karen, Lighthouse Cove. And Barbara, Cape Breton. Leslie, Thunder Bay. Sandy from Chilliwack, British Columbia. Anna, good morning. And Fran from Tilsonburg. Luella, West Tennessee. Cecilia, good morning. Andrea, Allegheny. Carol, West Virginia. Darlene, South Carolina. Gina, good morning to you. Ronald, how are you? And Joan, good morning. Annette, how is you? Couple more. Nick, thank you guys for coming on. April and Janice and Kathy from Texas and Linda from Sturgeon Falls. Good morning. Olive from Timmins and Victoria. Good morning. Linda from Chino, California. Mara, good morning. And Nativity, did I say hello to you already? Deb, Detroit, Michigan. Lynn, good morning. Lori Lee, Ventura, California. Betty from Brampton. You guys are the best of the best. Kathy, good morning. And Judy, okay. Doris, you're last. Thanks very much. And Diane, thank you. And Lynn, and he said my name. He said Kevin. And Kevin was missing. Kevin, you say hello to everyone, don't you? Guys, look, thank you for coming on. We appreciate it very, very, very much. Okay. What was the name of my new book? Sun, Steak, Steel, and Sleep. I want to bring you two studies on sleep this morning, and maybe we'll get to another study too, but I want to bring you two on sleep. The first one is Canadian. It's a Canadian researchers on sleep found this, okay? If you miss out on 4 hours of sleep, even one night, okay, here's what Canadian researchers said. There is a less activity in the frontal and parietal lobes, crucial for decision making. Okay? It's the frontal lobe, the parietal lobes are crucial for decision making. So what they did is in Canadian research is they got people that were deprived, and they deprived people of 4 hours of sleep. Okay? And they did MRIs before and after. And what they found was, if you were sleep deprived by 4 hours, your brain didn't light up on the MRI, because I guess your frontal brain, the frontal part of the brain and the parietal parts on the sides are very important for decision making, for your moods. What else did they write? Problem solving, okay, in your brain. And if you get enough sleep, those areas of your brain light up like a Christmas tree in an MRI, meaning they're functioning properly. 4 hours, a lack of sleep, and they're not. Now, I went into great detail in my book, Sun, Steak, and Steel, and Sleep, about this. Not that particular research, but other research on sleep and how important it is. Okay? And the Canadian researchers said, yeah, absolutely. When it comes to, what did I talk about in terms of even memory? Okay? The brain and the hypothalamus. It has, it's like a library, that stores your memories, and you have a librarian in there, and you have a safety deposit box that keeps those memories, and then you have a GPS. Your brain, guys, it's unbelievable. But it won't work properly. It'll work, but it won't work properly without sleep. Thus, people who have chronic sleep conditions, they really have trouble. And, the low-hanging fruit, I always used to say this when it comes to cortisol and the stress, where people they're always in the fight or flight instead of rest and digest. Their body doesn't go into that. That's what stress can do. And we've talked about that it's one of the reasons doctors have so much trouble fixing hormones. Why? They don't think about cortisol. They never test cortisol. And they're upside down when it comes to hormones. Oh, your thyroid is normal. According to what, doc? According to your blood work. And if you make blood work the be-all and end-all, you're not really practicing medicine. You are, but you're not. It's malpractice. And as we talk about the thyroid's not the boss. The thyroid's not the boss. It thinks it is, but it's not. Okay? It's got a lot of other strings attached to it. And if you don't know that, if you in medicine, you and those practitioners out there, if you don't understand that, you're in trouble, because you're not going to figure out how to fix hormones. Okay? One of the lowest hanging fruits, and I tell people this, and I used to tell people this all the time in my days of practice. One of the lowest hanging fruits is correcting sleep. It's not the only low hanging fruit. The other one is get off sugar. Get off sugar. Why? Well, sugar is very inflammatory. Sugar is like cocaine for your brain. And that'll mess you up. Those are low-hanging fruits. If you did nothing else, like I want people to do the reset. You know that. And that is the best thing you can do for yourself. But if you want a low-hanging fruit, stop eating sugar. And get working on sleep. Doc, I can't sleep. Join the 70% of the population. Guys, it never used to be that way. It never used to be that way. It's not that we haven't had insomnia. Of course we have. But it's not to the extent that we have it today. And that's a big factor. It's a big factor. So the Canadian researchers talked about 4 hours of sleep deprivation, how it affects the frontal lobe of the brain, how it affects your decision making, how it affects your mood, how it affects problem solving. Big problem. Okay. Now let me talk to you about the other one. Now this one I really went into a lot of detail in my book, but this is a new study that just confirms what I mentioned in the book. This is key, guys. Okay? Oslo researchers found when you don't sleep properly, and we're going to talk about what I mean by proper sleep, you have a reduced clearance. Okay? That's their words. Debris doesn't get cleared from the brain. Your self-cleaning oven. You got a self-cleaning oven up there. Isn't your body fearfully and wonderfully made? Come on, guys. As Joe Biden would say, come on, man. Think about unbelievable. When I was in school, in the days of Noah, we didn't know the brain had a self-cleaning oven. We didn't. Now, we know about the lymphatic system, okay? And the lymphatic system is your body's sewage system. Oh, your body has a sewage system? Yeah. Isn't that something? And by the way, just a little eensy-beensy rabbit trail. When cancer cells get into the lymphatic system, that's where they belong. There's two schools. One that believes the lymphatics is how your cancer spreads. I don't believe that. Okay? And the other school is that that's how your body gets rid of cancer. Because you got a sewage system. Anywho, that was a rabbit trail. I'm back. I'm back to sleep. When you don't sleep properly, your self-cleaning oven doesn't work properly. Okay? It's called your glymphatic system. You have glial cells in your brain. Unreal. I never knew that until the last few years. Incredible. You know, guys, let me just make, I know I'm into rabbit trails. I got to make another one. When people tell you, okay, because this is a narrative, you know, big pharma and others use. The science is settled. Well, look, here's me. The very definition of science is based on observation, meaning science is never settled. The more we study, the more we find out. Okay? The more we study, the more we find out. Now, 2 + 2 = 4. I get that. Okay? But what did I talked to you, was it last week, about autism? What? And someone went in, made a comment. Well, they probably just didn't diagnose it in the 70s. Yeah, you're right. We probably didn't. We didn't know what it was. And, you know, there was kids with autism and we just didn't know. But there's not the amount of kids that have autism like it is today. That's the point I was making. Yeah, maybe there was. It certainly wasn't in our medical books. And some people dismiss the argument I was making based on, well, there was always autism. Yeah, there might have been some, but it's not like today. And were we gone to, 1 out of 20 kids now got autism? All I'm saying about science, guys, on this rabbit trail, it's not settled. The more we discover, and that's like me, I'm always studying. You know, I always study. I get these research studies on sleep, fascinates me. It fascinates me because I know the importance of sleep. And then on this second study in Oslo, they said something that other studies have confirmed this. You don't sleep. Your self-cleaning oven in your brain don't work properly. So what happens? What happens? You don't get rid of debris. Okay? Your brain is a manufacturing plant. It needs a lot of energy. Like we just talked about, the area in your brain for decision making and for problem solving and for moods and your memory. And think of how unbelievable your brain is. Guys, I'm sorry. In school, I took evolutionary biology. It permeates everything. I don't buy it. I don't buy that. I'm sorry. Anyway, I don't want to go on another rabbit trail. I'm just telling you, I don't buy it. I know it's popular, but I don't buy it. I just can't believe our brains got to the point of where we are over a gazillion years. No. There's a designer, a creator, okay? And that brain is unreal, okay? Think about it. So you got a self-cleaning oven, but it don't work if you don't sleep. So what does that do? Now that debris from the processing, the manufacturing, you have waste wherever you have a lot of energy produced. you're going to have waste time. And what happens? Those waste products, if they're not taken away from the brain because you're not sleeping, okay, destroy the brain. And especially the memory center. That's what this study is saying, out of Oslo. And I read the study and oh, wow, yeah. I've been saying that for a long time. The self-cleaning oven. Unreal. You need the sleep. We need sleep. No, really, guys, we do. And I know so many people, they have such difficulty in that area. My practice, like I said, in the last, let's say, 15, 20 years, those last 15, 20 years of my practice took a shift. Okay? And it became, a laboratory for, high cortisol and high insulin. In 2011, I wrote a book, Serial Killers with an S. 2 hormones that want you dead. Insulin, food. Man, oh man, oh man, oh man. My practice was insulin, 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 insulin. Test it, test it, test it. And everybody and their dog, just about, came in and they had insulin resistance or high circulating insulin. It was an epidemic in my office. I couldn't miss it because I was testing it. Insulin going through the roof. And I know insulin primarily is a food hormone. So I used to tell my patients, you got a food disorder. What? Yeah. You and carbs ain't getting along anymore. You like it. It's like a bad relationship. One of the partner, I still love you, dear. Yeah, but I don't love you anymore. And, okay, you might love carbs. And you love your sugar, and you love your sweets, and you love your crappy carbohydrates, bread, pasta, and all that. I love that, doc. Yeah, well, so do I. But it don't love you anymore. It don't love you anymore. So what, that ain't good. so that was one of the things I tested. And then the other was cortisol. And it was unreal. Ask my staff. It was unreal. Especially in the last 15, 20 years of my practice. Holy moly. It was like people were on steroids for cortisol. Their cortisol was through the roof. And people would be surprised by that. Doc, no one's ever talked to me about my cortisol. What? Yeah. Well, you can't sleep, right? Yeah, I'm having trouble. Well, your cortisol's a problem. And when your cortisol's a problem, you can't sleep. And when you can't sleep, you're elevating your cortisol. It's a double whammo. You couldn't fool the test. And stress, cortisol, pours gasoline on the fire of inflammation inside the body that's silent. killer. And, like for me, it sort of revolutionized my practice. And then you got almost invariably everybody that came in, invariably, there was always exceptions to this, of course, but most people, even young people, had high levels of cortisol, and cortisol's great. It'll save your life. It's the fight or flight. You want cortisol. It's not like you don't want cortisol. You just don't want it going all day long. It's not meant for that. It's not meant for that. But again, if physicians, and this is a thing that I used to try and teach whenever I had a chance to teach practitioners or physicians, I said, look, hello, you out there, you're going to see real patients. Okay? You're going to see real people. Here's what you look for. Look for cortisol. Look for insulin. If you can get those two drive the rest of the hormones more than any others. And you better fix those two. Because if you don't fix those two, you're in trouble. You won't be able to fix hormones. You can tranquilize them. Look at sleep, for example. A physician. Go to 90-something% of doctors. Okay? Doc, I can't sleep. Well, here's a pill. Instead of, why can't you sleep? Let's change things so you can sleep. And they sedate you. Medications for sleep are sedation. I know what I'll do. I'll call in an anesthesiologist and let's put you to sleep. You're not really going to sleep. You know what I mean? You're getting knocked out. Get into the ring. With, I'll tell you my age, Muhammad Ali or Joe Frazier. And they'll knock you out. Hey, did I ever have a good sleep? Oh yeah, that's right. I was in a fight and, no, you didn't have a good sleep. You were knocked out. There's no glial cells working if you get knocked out. Do you feel good after getting an operation? Oh, I never had a sleep so good in my life. I just had a knee replacement. And man, oh man, I never felt so good as after getting that anesthetic. Are you kidding me? And you see these commercials on TV and for Ambien or whatever, right? And you see people and they've got butterflies, floating around like, isn't this the greatest thing since sliced bread? Do you know how many patients I saw over the years that had been on sleeping pills for 20, 30 years? I felt sorry for them. I did. I said, you're on your way to Alzheimer's. What? Nobody told me that. I said, well, you're being sedated. You're not sleeping. You're being sedated. Yeah, but doc, I can't sleep. I said, well, you're not really sleeping. You're not going through the 5 cycles of sleep when you're on med. Your brain is not taking out the garbage. Every day is garbage day. Okay? Every night is garbage night. And that's what this study was saying. Isn't that something, guys? Isn't it something when you look at these things? Now, let's talk quickly because I've been through this before. It's in the book. You haven't got a copy of it? What? Okay? Sun, Steak, and Stale. Available only on our website, martinclinic.com. It's already a bestseller. Got to get a copy of it. Now, okay, let's go over some tips to turn this around. I'm telling you guys, one of the things you can do is change your diet. Sugar creates inflammation. Inflammation will affect your brain, will affect your sleep. Sugar, cut it out. And especially stop eating if you can as much as possible. Folks, this is key too. Rest and digest, meaning 3, some people need 5 hours before they go to bed. Don't eat. Do your intermittent fasting at night. You know what I mean by that? Because people think of fasting. Well, you don't have to do 24 hours. But if you stop eating at 6 o'clock or whatever and you go to bed at 9, well, that's 3. If you go to bed at 10, and guys, this is key too. This is something I found very effective. Go to bed time every night. Make it part of your DNA. I got a little trying to reconnect. A little technical. I'm back if I left you for a few seconds. Okay, so cut out the sugar. Don't eat at night. Okay, try and stop eating. Very important to get into that rest and digest mode. Okay? Get some sunlight during the day without your sunglasses. What is the sweet spot? About 20 minutes. Look, I know some of you got very sensitive eyes, and I get that. But you want your eyeballs to get sunlight. Okay? It's really important. Why? It is the pathway, one of the pathways for melatonin. Not to take a melatonin supplement, but to get the sun. Sun, steak, and steel, and sleep. Sun. Sun during the day, dark at night. It goes with your circadian rhythm. It's really important. Sunlight, melatonin. And then when it's dark in your room, dark, pitch black. The only time you should wear a mask. Some people are still wearing a mask. And when I go to the store and I go, well, that's not working. I said, I hope you're wearing a mask. No, I don't say anything. My wife has to grab me. Quit talking. I know, but it irritates me. They've been lied to. Those things don't do any good. But you can wear a mask at night. Wear your invisible mask. Vitamin. What is it? What vitamin is it? What's your invisible mask? The Martin Clinic Invisible Mask. for your immune system? Vitamin? Somebody give me the answer and I'll go. Carol, yeah, vitamin D, yep. Gertie, you got it, vitamin A. The invisible mask is vitamin A. People don't realize that. Okay? And, yeah, look, guys, you guys are saying D3, a lot of you. And you know how much I love the sun for your immune system. But I have done vitamin A, the Rodney Dangerfield of vitamins for your immune system. I mean, you need vitamin D. Absolutely. I'm just saying what protects your eyes, your nose, and your mouth, where viruses and bacteria get in. Vitamin A. Vitamin A. And people, you're wearing the wrong mask. I like that. I just made that up. When you see someone wearing a mask out on the street, outside or whatever, tell them, you're wearing the wrong mask. I always get a kick. It was one of my favorite movies of all time, you know, Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. You remember that? With John Candy. I love that movie. I laugh and laugh and laugh. But one of the things people were saying, you're going the wrong way. One of the best scenes in that movie. And John Candy goes, how do you know which way I'm going? But guys, when you see a mask, someone wearing a mask, okay, you better not say anything. But you can think it. They're wearing the wrong mask. They need the vitamin A mask that comes from vitamin S, and that is steak. What other mask do I like? I like the eye mask. Dark. Dark. No light. You make more melatonin. Sunlight during the day, dark over your eyes at night. Okay. I've got a few other tips. And let me just mention this in closing. What's the sweet spot? Research has said this, and I've been saying it for 50 years. What's the sweet spot for most people? 7 hours. 7 to 8 hours is sweet spot for sleep. Yep. So remember that. All my years of experience and practice, 7, 8 hours. That's the sweet spot. I'm going to do a whole thing on sweet spots. Okay? Okay, guys. We got a great week coming. Okay? So remember the study on sleep. The studies on sleep. Interesting. Certainly interesting to me. And very, very appropriate in this day and age. Okay? Very appropriate in this day and age. Okay, we love you guys. We'll talk to you soon.